The following program is a public access production. Comcast is required to provide time on this channel and make it available pursuant to franchise agreements with the communities we serve. Comcast is not affiliated with the following program or the producers of public access programming and is not responsible for the content. The following program does not reflect the opinions of Comcast or its affiliates.
Welcome to another edition of Discover Tinley, where we highlight the positive things, the great things that are going on in Tinley Park, the people and organizations that make Tinley Park a great place in which to live. And as we all know, Tinley Park is a pretty great place in which to live. My name's Ron Centeni. I'll be your host today, and the program here, we got some very interesting guests coming up. Summer's coming around, so I'll be kind of watching out for what's going on in Tinley Park this summer with all kinds of things happening downtown. The farmers market's opening up. There's different musical guests going on. All kinds of things happening in town with the Park District. So hopefully it'll be a nice, good weather summer. Hasn't been a good weather spring, but the summer hopefully is much better, and we have a lot of things going on in town here. A couple of years ago, Tinley Park got a reward, an award called the Best Place in America to Raise Kids. And it seems to me, I'm guessing that one of the reasons they did that because of some of the great schools we have in town here. We do have a great school system in our grade schools and our high schools, and we have some very outstanding people in those schools. Last month, we talked with a state champion from Tinley Park High School. And, of course, this month, on the other side of town, we've got another state champion. And a little different aspect, though. We have the Illinois Principal of the Year from Andrew High School, Bob Nolting. Welcome to Discover Tinley.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we have the Superintendent of District 230, Dr. James Gay. Welcome to Discover Tinley.
Thank you, sir.
We've got the big wheels here from the district and everything. How, Andrew High School Principal of the Year, that's got to be quite something. What was your reaction when you heard that?
Well, it was very much a surprise. I thought, I remember receiving the call. I was after hours, kind of by myself at the office, and obviously it was something that I was very, very proud of. But I immediately felt that sense that it was a great thing for Andrew High School more than it was for anything else. It was, any of the things that went into the process weren't things that were one person type things. They were community-based. They were things that we've accomplished as a school, community, staff, administrative team, students, and that's kind of what the pride was really about.
Oh, yeah. Good. Well, obviously it's a team effort. You don't do it all by yourself, so we get a lot of things. What was the selection process? How did you even get to that point in the first place?
Well, I was privileged enough to be nominated by my colleague at Sandburg High School, Miss Deb Baker. She didn't tell me about that, but she nominated me.
Oh, she didn't tell you?
She didn't tell me. And then the selection process begins by regional award winners. So I received I believe it was November, a call recognizing me as the South Cook Principal of the Year. And they notified me at that time that in February, they'd reach back out if I were to move on to the state level, which I received that call. So there was 21 of us at the regional level that went into a state selection process, and then I found out in mid-February that I was the selection.
And do you know what some of the criteria are for why they choose Principal of the Year? Yeah,
it has a lot to do with the individual things that have been accomplished by that school in the tenure of the principal. So they look at the academic record, they look at the other achievements that the school has received, national recognition, state recognitions, local. They look at some of the testimonials that they find with regard to in the individual, the principal in this case, from students, from colleagues, just about things like leadership, community orientation, actively engaging within the parent and the student bodies respectively. So it was generally those kind of criteria.
Everything. Well, let's talk about some of the things. Can you point to some of the things you can think of that might have brought this on? What are some things you've brought to Andrew? Now, how long have you been to Andrew, first of all?
This is my 7th year.
7th year, okay.
Yeah.
What are some things that you can look at that maybe you said, oh, this is something I brought to Andrew that's making it a tremendous school as it is?
Well, again, it was a collective effort, so it really started when I got the offer to go from Dr. Gay, and I was in the district before, so it was a move from one place to the next, and one of the challenges was, raising a little bit of the barometer at Andrew High School for challenging our students, maybe in a little bit more of a meaningful way than before. So we really took 3 different approaches. One was academic, one was with regard to like engagement in schools, participation in school, and then the other one had to do with, in a general term, kind of our social, our college career pathways. So the academics really was what we started with, because we felt that would lead to the others, and we initiated some programs. Some of it was to challenge more students to take on honors and AP in courses. In my time, we've increased that over 30%. We also wanted to minimize the programs where kids were not meeting the academic challenges to be prepared for college, so basic classes and other types of courses, and we've increased that, or actually decreased that, about 40%.
Wow.
So, and at the same time, we increased our graduation rate, we decreased our failure rate. So that was really a lot of the academic pieces. We were able to challenge a huge group, or a couple of huge groups of students, without compromising any sort of other areas. In fact, enhancing those two.
Can you think of something in particular that you did or the school did to do some of these things?
Well, one of the things, I think there was a couple things that we did that were all similar things. The one thing we always had at Andrew High School, well before my time, was there was an outstanding relationship between the community and the school. There was a trust. And you build off of your strengths, and I think we built off of that trust. And we made it an approach to have individual conversations with families about taking on the challenge. We had programs we called One Up, not a very creative term, but that was what it was, is take one more of what you otherwise don't feel like you would be willing to take. And the other end of that is you have to meet that challenge that you give to families with supports. So, and a lot of these came through district support in our school board with regard to, we built this concept called the Center, which is an academic resource during students' lunch period. And it's one of 3 that we're aware of in the state of Illinois that is a peer-to-peer tutorial center. Works very much like a corporate tutorial center, and it's an outstanding addition. We revised our schedule, and at Andrew we took that to, I think, a unique level where it's an additional opportunity for kids to get support. We call it T-Bowl time. It's our 2nd hour. It's a modified schedule, and we made a lot of enhancements to it so that kids took more ownership for their own learning, and 2, removed any excuses for not being able to take on an additional challenge.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's sort of, take responsibility. I think that's one of your things, is responsibility.
Yeah.
Instilling students' responsibility to take care of their own actions and do the things they need to do. So.
Absolutely, and I think that leads into that second piece, is we really wanted to push the involvement in school, because where you learn most about responsibility and self-advocacy and kind of taking ownership of your own life, which I think is a big part of being a high school kid, as you start transitioning to taking over your own life, is we challenge them to do things at Andrew, clubs, activities, fine arts, and what we found is over our time, we had about 60% of our student body when I started that were involved. Now we're close to 80%, which is the highest I've found at any high school that we've talked to. And that speaks to the fact that we invite kids out. We talk to them again individually. Hey, you may want to try this, or you may want to do this. And sometimes for a high school kid, it's just them hearing from another person that you have confidence in them to do something that they maybe didn't think of on their own. And we've seen a huge, a great benefit to that in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, I found that at my educators. Sometimes kids need to be asked.
Right.
Nobody's taken an interest in them and thought, gee, you think you could do that? You could probably do that. And they said, nobody ever told me that before.
Right.
So
Right.
Why not try it? And sure enough, they meet with some success and get some good things going.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Any other programs? One thing I want to emphasize, a part of one of the programs you do is the Veterans Program, which is kind of nice. Thank you very much for doing that. Dr. Gay, what has this meant to the district? What does this mean to District 230 having a Principal of the Year in the district?
Well, we can't be more proud as a district and for Bob. Bob and I worked together at Andrew before, and I'm not surprised. But the thing is that a lot of things that Bob talked about are initiatives that may have come from the district, but they could just be words on a paper. Bob brought them to life at Andrew High School. So these are initiatives that we talked about as a group that we think should happen throughout the district. But again, as Bob has explained, he brought that personalized education to the kids by actually asking them, you know, maybe you can take that honors class or that AP class, and then Bob built in the supports during the day, which is crucial. A lot of our kids are very, very busy before and after school, clubs, activities, and part of our initiative, and Bob was instrumental in getting kids involved after school. Well, then, how much time could you manage there? So, by having the center, allow the students to get the support they need during the school, take that challenge that Bob has asked them to take academically and socially in the clubs. Statistics are clear. If kids are involved in the school, they take ownership and pride of their school and in their school, they're going to do better. And one of our goals always is to prepare students for their future, not our past. And I think Andrew does that tremendously. If you look at the students who go on to post-secondary life and how successful they are in secondary and post-secondary, going back to that second year, Bob's numbers are skyrocketing at Andrew High School. So they're getting a great education, and I think Bob has brought that culture that they all can do it together, and the communication with the parents, the staff, the students, and his sister schools as well. Mm-hmm. They work together. So again, we can't be more proud. We're hoping that this continues on this process, which I think he'll explain a little later as it moves on to the national level.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. What's the next step now? You're not only Illinois Principal of the Year, but you're going to go on to possibly national.
Yeah. What they do now is each state gets to send their representative on, and there was a process that was actually just recently completed. Mm-hmm. So I find out, I believe, in the fall, if you move on to that level, and it would be. I think it's been 30 years since Illinois has actually moved beyond that level, but I'm not sure. That might be more rumor. So, and that would be that. Frankly, that would be a wonderful piece to this journey. But it's this is good enough. This is a wonderful opportunity to talk about Andrew High School, to talk about my experience, but most importantly, to talk about what goes on at Andrew High School. We always talk about, a lot of schools are known for their brains, a lot of schools are known for their muscles. Not a lot of schools are known for their heart and their soul, and Andrew High School is probably one of those schools that has the biggest heart and the best soul of any school I've been involved in, and that's what this allows me to do, is tell that story.
Wow, you told it very well.
And Bob's going to have the opportunity to tell the story throughout the state. And that's great. So he's get to share all the wonderful accomplishments at Andrew and through the district across the state, and the speaking engagements he's going to be having. And then we're hoping at the national level, because I think we have a great story to tell for District 230 and Andrew specifically. And I think it deserves the national attention.
Wow. Well, let's keep our fingers crossed, and let's hope it works out for the best. You've got quite a resume going there, so hopefully it'll be well. Well, thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for Dr. Gay for coming here and talking about your outstanding principal.
Yes.
I'm sure your other principals are very good too.
Yes,
so.
we're very blessed in District 30. We've got 3 great principals.
Yeah. But to have an Illinois Principal of the Year, congratulations to
Thank
you,
you.
And keep up the good work you're doing at Andrew High School. I've heard a lot of good things over there. So
Thank you.
Every time I come over to see something, I see the enthusiasm with the kids on it. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for Discover Tinley, and good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Andrew High School Principal of the Year, Bob Nolting. Well, it was great talking to the Illinois Principal of the Year from Andrew High School and all the things that they're accomplishing over there in that tremendous school in town here. There's some other very important people, other good things going on at Andrew High School. We're very fortunate with our next guest who had a son at Andrew High School, And unfortunately met with a very tragic accident, but the parents of this young man are taking it upon themselves to hopefully avoid other students from running into the same difficulty and tragic things that happened to him in his accident. We'll talk about it in a minute, but we have the guests here who are the parents of a Matthew Kocher, who are starting a foundation in his name to help kids avoid the tragedies. Welcome to John and Cathy Kocher. Thank you for coming to Discover Tinley.
Thank you for having us today.
The Matthew
Thank you.
Kocher Foundation. Okay, first of all, who is Matthew Kocher?
Matthew was our only son, our only child. Matt was definitely a shining star. He had many, many talents. He worked at all his talents. He excelled in academics, in athletics, also just being a person of character. Matt was involved with community service. He was a Cub Scout where he worked with the POTCF, with toy collections, the Pediatric Oncology Treasure Chest Foundation. Matt was involved with food drives. He always looked forward to the Tinley Park cleanups and going over to Tinley Park High School for the cheeseburgers. And he loved doing stuff for the community. Matt was also very involved with their church over at St. Elizabeth Seton. Matt was an altar boy. He always wanted to volunteer. Matt, in his 8th grade, they awarded him the Christian Leadership Award. And it was an outstanding award, and Matt was also humble.
Matt didn't think he deserved the award. He didn't understand why he received it. And I had to explain to him that it's not that he was better than anybody else, but that he was just being recognized for all of the service that he had done, and also that he stood out as a leader and a role model for others due to his kindness and his giving personality.
Well, and obviously he did more than the usual to be recognized, and people like that should be recognized for doing that. I think not only for what they do, but as an example for others to follow.
Right, right.
A good example for others. This kid did all this. Maybe we could do it. Do all that kind of stuff.
He was a good boy. He didn't think that it was anything special, though. It was just kind of a way of life. Community service was part of a way of life for all of us in the family. So.
Well, he must have gotten that from somebody.
And Matt, by his stature, Matt was, the week before he went to camp, I took him for his physical. Matt was 6'4", 243 pounds.
Oh my.
And he was looking forward to sophomore football. He played offensive tackle and defensive end. And Matt was, they called him a gentle giant. Matt never looked for trouble. Matt, if anything, always stayed out of it. The kids would say, would tell us stories about Matt. My books fell all over, and Matt blocked everybody while he picked everything up with me. And Matt always had a smile. He always had a smile. Matt enjoyed life.
Wow.
He just, he appreciated everything. He loved Andrew High School. Everything, his coaches, his teammates, his teachers, same thing at Prairie View. He loved Prairie View, all the teachers, McAuliffe School in Tinley Park as well. He just loved everything about it. He was always appreciative of, geez, that person was really nice to me. And those are the kinds of things that Matt was really about.
Well, as painful as it might be, let's go back to what happened on that fateful day. When was this, and when, where, and what went on?
Okay, so on the 3rd Monday in July, early in the morning, Matt was all packed up and ready to go to camp. I hugged and kissed him goodbye, and John drove him over to Camp Manitoqua in Frankfort, where he was to get 40 service hours. He was going with 4 of his best friends, and he was all set to have 12 fun days and to earn lots of service hours for high school. Andrew High School requires 24 hours in the high school career, and Matt was already set to on a path to get over 100. That was his goal, even just getting out of freshman year. So he went off happily to camp, and he was supposed to be there for 12 days, like I mentioned. And then on Saturday, July 27th, while I was in the kitchen making a dessert for a party that we were going to that evening, the phone rang. And it was an administrator from the camp saying that there had been an accident, a water accident. And then there was another phone call right away. It was a doctor at a hospital in Michigan City, Indiana, telling us that we needed to come quick. So what had happened was Matt was at camp as a servant, so not a younger camper and not a counselor, but kind of in between. He was there to help out with the kids and the counselors and help clean up a camp and do things like that. And so they were there all week, but on this Saturday they were going to New Buffalo, Michigan to hang out in the town and to swim at the city beach there. So thus the water accident. So we went flying out the door. Then part of the way to the hospital, we got a call to go to University of Chicago, that Matt was being airlifted. Well, then we felt better because we knew, number one, that he was still alive, and we figured that there was hope that he was going to get treatment and he'd be okay. So we turned around, we rushed to University of Chicago, and we gathered there with all of our family and a few close friends that joined us, and the doctors did work on him, but unfortunately they could not revive him. They tried, and at 8:21 on July 27th, 2013, our son Matt passed away.
So what were the circumstances that briefly, what made that swimming accident really take his life?
Well, that was a day that it was a cold summer's day. It was chilly and there were a lot of waves out, and there was a rip current warning and a red flag on the beach. But these kids are from Tinley Park. They can, they don't go to the beach. They're not beach goers. They're pool kids. They go to the Tinley Park pool. So they didn't know anything about rip currents. And they were only, from what I understand, they were only just standing in shallow water, maybe just up to their knees. But the waves were 3 to 5 feet high.
Oh my.
And when a rip current is in effect, it can be like a 2-ton car knocking you down. So Matt was knocked off of his feet and pulled way out. His other friends that were in the water, they were also affected, but they were tousled and then tossed back onto the beach, where Matt was sucked back out.
So now you
Yes.
started a foundation. What's the purpose of this foundation that you started?
Well, we wanted to start a foundation in memory of Matt to honor his life and also to help other people. And our foundation has a threefold purpose. One is to provide water safety education to others. 2 is to provide scholarships to deserving students. And number 3, to promote community service through different opportunities.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that sounds pretty ambitious.
It's very challenging. We had people that told us, just pick one thing, just do one thing.
Okay.
But after Matt died, there was a scholarship fund that was started in lieu of flowers. But we knew we wanted to do something with the water safety, that we did not want any other family to have to go through this devastation. Our lives just felt so shattered when we lost Matt. It's still, even almost 3 years later, so very difficult for us.
That'll never
So-
go away. I'm sorry, that'll never go away.
No, so we don't want anyone else to go through this.
And if Matt would have had this information, there was no way Matt would have gone in the water. As far as going to the high schools, we will have already gone to this, at the end of this spring season, we will have reached over 26,000 students.
Oh my.
And this spring alone, we will have hit 18 schools, 1 Boy Scout troop, and then a park district group.
And when you say we, who does these presentations?
Well, we have, because of generous sponsorship from members in the community, as well as a very successful golf outing last year, we sponsored the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project, who are knowledgeable people. They talk about water safety, about the perils of open water, about what to do if caught in a rip current. They use the term flip, float, and follow. And it's something that could save a young person's life. How to evaluate the open water and some of the dangers in open water. Many times parents come to the presentations. They go, "We never knew it. Because like Cathy said, we're basically pool people.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, with, you know, also with the foundation, we provide scholarships. This year, or last year and this year combined, will award over $47,000 to qualified seniors to further their education. Students who, like Matt, excelled in academics and gave back to their school and to their community through service. We also are involved with community service, just like my adapter road. We got a stretch of road right down 175th where Matt used to walk to Prairie View, and it goes from 84th to 94th Avenue 4 times a year. We get a bunch of people, and we just had one last week with the Prairie Junior High National Honor Society. One of the Matt's friends, who's part of the advisory board, senior at Andrew High School, Ryan Donahue. We're involved with always with the Tinley Park Trimetry. And so the beautification of Tinley Park, because it's a great place to live, and it just makes it special. We're also involved with the toy collection for Pediatric Oncology Foundation. Another Andrew senior, Lauren Durkin, spearheaded that project. Caroling at the Smith Crossing. We're, again, Ryan Donahue spearheaded that. The Tinley Park Irish Parade.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
That's where I first saw your brochures passing them out at the parade, and how to, you know, that kind of brought me to your attention
right.
there.
And we have received other calls about it.
Okay.
You know, by getting it going, well, where do you do these presentations and things like that?
Well, that's good. We're running quite a short time. How do the people contact you if they want to get more information to get involved? How should they contact you?
Sure, if anybody would like to contact us, they can call 708-476-9093. That's the foundation business line. We also have a website, and it's mk56.org. And we can also be emailed at admin@mk56.org.
Wow. Okay, so and then you sound you got quite a few programs going in the schools. If anybody wants to get your expertise in the schools or a presentation, just call one of those places and you'll come out, and the people you have involved doing this will come out and make a good presentation on saving lives and saving some more lives. Obviously, the more you save, the better your foundation is. Got about a minute left. Any last minute things you want to add about the Matthew Kocher Foundation?
Well, it's the Matthew Kocher Foundation is supported by so many people, just by their participation in the community service events. It's just heartwarming. It just it gives us strength. It gives us a lot of courage to keep going on.
Wow.
And it's just the community has been outstanding. I cannot say enough about the Tinley Park community and all they have helped us through this.
Well, continue good luck. Good luck to you on your adventure here, and thank you so much for taking the time to making a tragic accident to something positive and helping hold others. Matthew Kocher Foundation, helping to save lives from young people, especially for water accidents. We've had some very special guests tonight, the Andrew Principal and Matthew Kocher Foundation, some very excellent programs in town here that make Tinley Park a great place in which to live. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next month.